Good evening, everyone. I'm glad to be with you all. It's my pleasure and responsibility to welcome you from the health team at Silverleaf. And so we're going to try and share some essential health truths throughout the course of the week. And you're going to see at the back, as you walk into the church area, there's going to be various posters throughout the course of the week addressing different health areas. So you might wonder why, in this context, we talk about health. If we're coming to study the Bible, why are we talking about health? Why is that important? And so my job this evening is just to touch on why it's important and to look at the different components of health that we're going to be looking at through the course of the week. So if you see that picture there, someone standing on the edge of a cliff, I can say to myself, I don't believe in gravity. And I'm going to jump off this cliff because I think gravity is a myth. But the reality is gravity is there whether I believe it or not. And you know, the same is true about our bodies and our minds. There are certain laws that govern our physiology that are there whether we like it or not. And we sometimes live as though they're not true. And so if we want to get the best out of a brand new vehicle that we buy, like if we get a fantastic BMW, we're not going to put water in the engine. So we want to know the laws that govern our constitution. So if I jump off that cliff, I'm going to fall down whether I like it or not. And it's the same is true in my body. I can say it doesn't matter. And when we're young, sometimes when we break the laws, we get away with it. And so we think it doesn't matter. But as we get older, the system gets less and less forgiving. So let's look at some of the principles. Look at these quotes. There are conditions to be observed by all who would preserve health. All should learn what these conditions are. We are to be workers together with God for the restoration of health to the body as well as to the soul. For the sick, we should use the remedies which God has provided in nature, and we should point them to Him who alone can restore. The very essence of the gospel is restoration. If you look at the work which the Lord came to do throughout the course of the Bible story, the message of the gospel is restoration, renewal and restoration. And you can't be renewed spiritually as a person unless you're also renewed physically. Physical restoration is part of God's plan for us. And that is governed by the laws of our constitution. So this is a very important topic. If we're going to grow and become who we can be, we need to pay attention to our health. This is from a book called The Desire of Ages, if you're wondering, for those of you who are not familiar. It's a very, very good book and has many of these powerful quotes in it. The body must be kept in a healthy condition in order that the soul may be in health. If you think you can be healthy spiritually while neglecting your physical health, you're mistaken. We can't. They are inextricably linked. The condition of the body affects the condition of the soul. He who would have physical and spiritual health must educate his appetite in right lines. He must be careful not to burden the soul by overtaxing his physical or spiritual powers. Faithful adherence to right principles in eating, drinking, and dressing is a duty that God has laid upon human beings. Through the agencies of nature, God is working day by day, hour by hour, moment by moment to keep us alive, to build up and restore us through the agencies of nature. So, for those of us that are new, most of us have lived long enough to say that health isn't found in a bottle. Whether that bottle be medication or a supplement, and medication can be life-saving. But there are principles that have to be the foundation of our health efforts, and that's what we're trying to address. What are those natural principles that God has put in place that we need to tick off on a daily basis to make sure that we're covering the bases we need to cover? And that last one, the desire of God for every human being is expressed in the words, "Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth." I find that encouraging. God's purpose for you and I is to be healthy. And we can only impact the world like we can do for Him when we are healthy, when we're at our best. And so, look at this one. The relation that exists between the mind and the body is very intimate. When one is affected, the body, the other sympathizes. Or when the mind is affected, the body is affected, and vice versa. The condition of the mind affects the health to a far greater degree than many realize. many of the diseases from which men suffer are the result of mental depression. Grief, anxiety, discontent, remorse, guilt, distrust all tend to break down the life forces and to invite decay and death. Isn't that powerful? But look at the contrary. Courage, hope, faith, sympathy, love promote health and prolong life. A contented mind, a cheerful spirit, is health to the body and strength to the soul. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine. I've got 5 minutes tonight. This is going to be a slightly longer 5 minutes, but I'm really trying to go quickly here. But this is to introduce the topic. So there's a difference between treating disease and wellness. So this is a key, important thing to understand. Most of the time when we go to doctors these days, and I've got great respect for the medical profession, I'm one of them, but I'm just saying, we get disease treatment. We will treat your diabetes. We will treat your hypertension. We will manage your cholesterol. And treating disease is not the same as being well. So I want to ask you tonight, how well are you tonight? And how well are we doing? Are we just not sick, or are we truly well? Wellness is a state of positives. It's not just the absence of negatives. This is important. So our goal is to experience the wellness that God wants for us. We want to partake of certain things that govern our laws of our body so we can be truly well. And these are God's healers: pure air, sunlight, abstemiousness. Abstemiousness is a word which means temperance and balance, not overdoing things. Rest, exercise, proper diet, the use of water, trust in divine power. These are the true remedies. Every person should have a knowledge of nature's remedial agencies and how to apply them. Now listen to this. The use of natural remedies requires an amount of care and effort that many are not willing to give. Because most people, and I've been a doctor long enough to say this is true, people come to you and say, I've got this problem, give me a pill. And they want the pill to fix what they're not doing. And so that paragraph is very true. Nature's process of healing and upbuilding is gradual, and to the impatient, it seems slow. The surrender of hurtful indulgences requires sacrifice, but in the end, it will be found that nature, untrammeled, does her work wisely and well. Those who persevere in obedience to her laws will reap the reward in health of body and of body and health of mind. What am I saying tonight? I'm not saying there's not a place for medication. We use medication every day. What I'm saying is, if you're not putting the basics in place, medication shouldn't be your starting point. That's what we're saying. So let's have a look. The brain, this is the ultimate. This is one of my passion areas. I love neuroscience. I love the brain. It's such an exciting organ. But there are pillars of health. What are the pillars of health? And that's what we're going to try and address and just touch on this week. And that's why we're doing these health nuggets, because they support what we're learning from the Bible. So some of the pillars of health are sleep, movement, nutrition, mental well-being. So sleep. Sleep used to be considered one of the pillars of health, and it is, but a pillar that stands among the others. But now my idea of it is somewhat changed. I believe sleep is now the foundation of health. It's that important. It actually underpins your ability to have the energy to exercise in the day, your ability to wake up and be clear-minded. If you're not sleeping properly, your next day is only as good as your last night's sleep. And so sleep is the foundation, a good foundation of health. So if you're not prioritizing sleep, and we can do separate talks on these things, we need to prioritize sleep so that our brains are getting the kind of rest they need. So this is sleep architecture. The brain goes through different cycles when we sleep. We know we're supposed to experience different types of sleep to get the best quality of sleep. The brain restores during deep sleep. They've done studies which show that enough oxygen actually keeps the brain in deep sleep. And so breathing properly at night is exceptionally important. We've been speaking about that. The brain cleans itself out during deep sleep. Only if you're reaching deep sleep phases is your brain cleaning itself, and that decreases your risk for things like Alzheimer's dementia. So the brain is wiping out its dirt at night. Water, proper hydration. Many people say, I don't like water. And the body is 65, 70% water. So hydration, sunlight. Sunlight is healing. Getting out early in the morning sunlight. We're going to look at that this week. If you get a chance. And this is the problem. Most of us are not getting a chance. We go to the office and we're under fluorescent lights for 10 hours a day. And this is telling my brain it's 8 o'clock in the morning the whole day long because of the spectrum of light it's emitting. So if you can, make opportunity to get out into the sunshine and not looking directly at the sunlight, close your eyes and let the sunlight fall on your face. Get light to reset your clock. Proper diet. What is the diet that our bodies run best on? Proper digestion, fresh air. These are nature's remedies. They've shown that people with the biggest lungs live the longest. So the greater your lung capacity, the longer you're going to live. And there's things you can do to increase your lung capacity. Exercise. This is one many of us fall down on, including the speaker, who's trying very hard. But time pressures keep us from exercise. And you cannot stay well without exercise. My brother's, and he's a very good exerciser. He's been exercising his whole life. And, we cannot get through our day efficiently without proper exercise. So this is some of the benefits of exercise. Regular exercise leads to numerous and varied physiological changes. Increases your HDL, which is your good cholesterol, improves your blood pressure, body composition, and bone density, decreases your insulin requirements, increases your metabolic flexibility, psychological benefits, improves your sleep. So just like most of us don't have to think about whether we want to brush our teeth, hopefully we don't have to think about that, but we should not have to think that we need exercise. It's that important. It's as important as brushing your teeth. And one of the benefits of exercise is that it increases your cardiac output. They found that the benefits of exercise is through what it's doing to your circulation, and that's a separate talk. Metabolic health and hormonal balance. So those are the 8 doctors: nutrition, exercise, water, sunlight, balance, air, rest, and trust. So you're going to see those posters at the back during the course of the week. And we're going to have people there manning some of those stations. So please feel free to interact with the health team during the course of the week. Bring your questions, whatever you'd like, but we'd love to have a chat with you. Thank you so much.